It's 2 p.m. at Mbia Camp, a small village in the southeast of Zambia. 2 farming families live here, and every day at this time the same ritual occurs. All the inhabitants gather for the traditional communal meal. A moment of conviviality and sharing, cementing the cohesion between the generations. Yet over recent years, children and adults have not always worn such bright smiles. We used to have a lot of problems in finding food for ourselves because at the material time there was no form of any assistance that came our way. Patrick and his family are not an isolated case. In effect, although Zambia has great farming potential, 1 in 2 people suffers from chronic malnutrition. In 2007 and 2008, the sharp rise in the price of farm products hit already vulnerable populations very hard. However, Zambia remained calm, unlike many other countries around the world which experienced hunger riots. In the face of this crisis, the EU reacted without delay.
I am announcing today our intention to propose a new €1 billion facility to support agriculture in developing countries, aiming at generating a strong and rapid agricultural supply response.
And so the European Union launched, alongside all its other development activities, the Food Facility Programme, a worldwide and ultra-rapid response to the crisis. A 3-year program of multiple projects in 50 countries. It's reaching over 50 million people, including many smallholder farmers. Around the world, from Bangladesh to Zambia, from Pakistan to Nicaragua, from Zimbabwe to Yemen, the Food Facility Program is therefore working to improve the lives of millions of the most vulnerable people. The inhabitants of Mbia Camp benefit directly from this support. In Zambia, as elsewhere, the European Union does not act alone, but in partnership with existing, already effective structures. Notably, the Zambian Ministry of Agriculture and the FAO, the United Nations Organization for Food and Agriculture. They taught us new farming techniques. And the farming techniques were appropriate and sustainable. So as a result, now we can grow food for ourselves, on our own. These new techniques are known as conservation agriculture. It's a method of farming based on 3 principles: minimal soil disturbance, permanent soil cover, and crop rotation.
What we are trying to do is to minimize disturbance of the soil while building up the fertility of the soil and also maintaining agronomic practices which help us come up with a timely planted crop, light plant population, and judicious use of nutrients so that we have maximum yield.
200,000 small Zambian farmers are already using this simple technique, and it seems to be bearing fruit.
Already we have seen for the past 3 years in Zambia, we've been recording maize surplus, meaning the prices of maize have started stabilizing.
Maize is the basic foodstuff for Zambians. Monsanje cultivates it too, and she's also supported by the Food Facility Program. Like thousands of other farmers, she receives tokens that she can exchange for seeds, fertilizers, herbicides, and basic tools. The program particularly targets women-headed households because they are the most vulnerable. Monsanje has also been trained in conservation agriculture. She is now enjoying more yield for less work in the fields. Reaping was very good, and conservation farming in general has benefited my family. It's allowed me to send my children to school. It's made farming very easy. Change of setting and reality. Other difficulties and other challenges. Kurban lives with his mother Beauty and their family in the south of Bangladesh. In 2007, Cyclone Sidr destroyed everything they had. My cow, my goats, chicken and ducks were all lost. In the panic, we somehow managed to reach the shelter in the nearby concrete building. We rushed there with our children. It was such an ordeal to be in that building without even a blanket or clothes for my daughter. I had to leave everything behind. Since then, they've been trying to survive. But the family's single annual rice harvest, their primary source of income, is poor. Yet this situation is the daily lot of most Bangladeshi people, the majority of whom are farmers. And this is true even when the country is spared cyclones and storms. Every year, Bangladesh is struck by serious flooding, followed by periods of drought. This weather pattern has serious consequences in what is one of the poorest countries in the world. The situation is further aggravated by climate change.
Now, there are really erratic rainfall. When it is supposed to be raining, it's not. And therefore, they are experiencing a lot of problems with their agricultural yielding. And also, due to the climate change, the river is becoming more unpredictable. It is eroding the areas frequently.
Another increasingly worrying problem for Bangladeshis is the encroachment of seawater in farmland. This makes growing rice, their basic foodstuff, very difficult and makes water unfit for consumption. In response, the Food Facility Program, in partnership with the World Food Program, is financing the construction of embankments. The objective is twofold: to try to prevent the flooding and to provide income to poor households. Here in the south of the country, hundreds of people are busy building barriers against the salt.
Our whole family has benefited from the construction of this embankment. It'll really help us save ourselves, help us to get better crops. We hope we'll get more jobs through work like this. It'll help us to live better and change our lives.
The European Union also supports local NGOs. Shapla has received this calf from the program. She'll sell the animal in a few months, which will bring in a small sum of money for new investments, and she hopes a better future.
With this money, I'll buy chicken, ducks, cows and goats. I'll buy food. For a long time, I couldn't have 3 meals.
Like other beneficiaries, Shapla has also been trained on how the local market functions and how to trade her livestock.
The idea is not to just provide financial support, but to train them to become self-sufficient and conscious of their position, how they can develop themselves through training, how they can learn about themselves, how they can utilize resources properly and generate from one resource several others is one of our main objectives.
Food security is at the heart of the European Union's development policy. It's a defining challenge in a world in which more than 1 billion people suffer hunger.